What's up guys, Hades here. Today I really want to dive into this new skill, Time to Shine. If you watched my previous video on the 4 new skills that we have here, I actually put Time to Shine in the S tier, and a big reason was because I thought it was very effective either on Syndiok or Hippolyta, and I want to dive into that fact and kind of show what I've been thinking about when it comes to this skill and Syndiok. Now, if you are unaware, you are able to use all the new skills. I have it right here. I did a bunch of testing. I'm going to show you some of my results, some of my findings, and see if I still agree with my initial testing. But yeah, you can see them here. They are all available. Where are they? Here's Psionic Tide, Chaotic Storm. I'm trying them in their own little way, but I just want to focus on one today because this is the one I really thought would make a big impact, and we're gonna try and find out. Now, why is Syndiok in my Wind March? Well, there's a good reason for it. It's awkward for this season. I accidentally picked Wind and Fire for a very different reason at the very start. The Immortal restriction is terrible for the testing I wanted to do. I wanted Cyrus, I wanted Trajan with Syndiok. That doesn't work for this skill, so I'm gonna show you some of the reports I had with Fire with non-optimal, and then I'm gonna show you some that have the Wind, which I think is much better. And then the other problem is it's hard to get a good tank. Trajan, Toku, Julius, YSS, they're all gone. They're off the pool. You can't use them. And that's kind of the context why I have these current, formations. They're very awkward, just the way it is. You have to adapt in these situations. Now, diving into it, I'm going to start with some of the Wind ones because there's some really cool stats here, and I'll tell you why I got here. But when we look at the stats, 35 seconds, Syndiok absolutely popped off, and she missed a bunch. She missed 35%. Now, what's crazy, and you're going to see this, I'm actually going to click through a lot of the reports, and Might of Phoenix, her ultimate, only hits one target, but the crit rate is absolutely insane. Remember, this new skill is giving us 35 flat crit rate on arrival to battle, plus it's giving you 30% damage, which is equal to anger, which just for her just seems so perfect, almost too good to be true. I paired it with Course of Power. I've tried a few pairings with it. I've tried with and without Fighting Master. I'm going to talk about that at the end of the video, what I think are the best synergies. But looking at a few more reports, we can see some of her stats, which really tell the biggest story. Might of Phoenix is always 50% or higher. A lot of the other ones will also be much higher. And this is an important part, analyzing the stats, what matters, what doesn't matter. Here's 100%, all 3 of them crit. Here's 77% as well, crit rate. I actually wanted to watch this replay just to show you what the crits look like, even in a team not built for crits. This is going to be very important because we want to see what's critting, right? And you can see the crit animation. When a number looks normal, it's not a crit. And then when there's a little right there, that red little flare, that's a crit. And you can look at, I line up the 2 carries in front of each other, and they just focus down the first one, and then it's just crit, crit, crit. Everything's getting crit. The crit rate is unbelievable, and I really think it has a ton of potential. Of course, the understanding of this skill is not quite there, and you can see the team just evaporate off the board. So let's dive into a few other ones. I had a different setup earlier. So as you can see here, the Wind's back to normal, and yes, I'm aware my dragons are low. I keep them low on purpose because I'm testing, and I want to try and beat people with less stats so that I can press myself. You always learn more when you have less. So here's the situation here. I'm going with double carry. I'm trying out Abundant Spirit on Wu, and I'm going with triple carry on Syndiok. The traditional 2 skills are Coercive, Unyielding, and then of course keeping yourself bubbled. But I'm going with full damage, and you can see here it just doesn't pay off, right? She doesn't get to do anything, mainly because she's a little bit on the slow side, but it doesn't matter because Wu just wins in the first 2 hits, essentially, which is interesting. But it becomes a wash of a report because we're looking for Xiandiak. We go to a different one. We have this. Again, she's getting left behind because she's not able to go quick enough. You need that protection from the bubble, right? Fighting Master really changes what you can and can't do. And a big reason I switched into the wind here was so I could get some no escape pressure. I could get some energy suppression. I could go first. Of course, you're just going to hit a brick wall sometimes into these like holy teams. But the point is the crit rates. And I'm going to find a good one. I think it was Johnny. Yeah, this is a good one. So here I had switched back to wind, and I get 15 million in a minute, and they split damage because it was a close one. And there's a lot of healing here. But the crit rate, if you look here, 85%, Might of Phoenix 83%, and the normal attacks is 100%. Now I also wanted to watch this one because that just kind of blows my mind. I'm of course down on the dragon, but this is a 1v1 full HP at the start, and there's a lot to be taken away from this. You can see already the Attila, which is like a pseudo carry, takes a bunch of upfront damage, and he's just gonna get target fired. Now I don't have any wound, which means he should get a significant heal here unless he dies too fast, which he did just barely get the heal, but he's too low to really do anything. And you can just see the crits. Every single auto attack is a crit, every single time. And the more she crits, the more her ultimate is just gonna absolutely pop off. And now the backline's too low and there's nothing they can do about it. So a few things to learn here. One, this critical rate is very strong. Just from my limited testing here, I already like it a lot. Secondly, you can't just go full offense unless you have her really protected in a team. I do want to try her in another season, maybe with Earth, where she can be protected by Charles and YSS, but that's just not possible here. And also having her with a healer and then not going with Unyielding. But, you know, it really depends. And then this is either useless or just not very effective in some matches, because in a lot of these replays she's actually been full HP, which is why I switched from that setup to this setup with coercive power, because if she doesn't drop below the threshold, it's just not that valuable. So I want to talk about a few of the setups you can go with her. Now of course you can just go full aggro and go, yeah, I'm going like this. I don't care what happens. I want as much damage as possible. You're going to get the scaling and the refresh of the ultimate. You're going to get that huge crit rate and all the recovery that comes with it. And then tagging along the 85% total, 35 plus 50. The theory behind this is crazy. And of course, if your team is bulky enough around it, then it's going to help you out a lot. If not, it doesn't make a lot of sense. Then of course, you're gonna have to, into certain matchups, think about being more defensive and having Fighting Master so that she can't be stopped by silences from the Shadow Dragon, from No Escape, right? And then you have to think about, is she getting low or is she still full HP? If she's full HP, I'm kind of a big fan of Coercive Power, or maybe even something like Death Breath, just to get more procs on her ultimate. If you are getting low HP, you of course have the option to switch this into Unyielding, but Unyielding is either one of the best skills on her or completely useless, and that really depends on your matchup. So there is no perfect setup, and it's gonna take a lot more experimentation from players, and I still think this is a top tier skill on her, and I think some of those crit rates you saw in the reports really show how strong it can be. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Is it a strong skill? Do you agree with its ST ranking, or is it maybe too niche to be so high on the ranking? But yeah, that's it for this one. I'll catch you guys in the next one.